Well, it's leader versus leader and whip versus whip in this insanely tangled Maharashtra plot. After weeks of debates and discussions about who will triumph and who enjoys majority, rebel leader turned ruler Eknath Shinde has won the trust vote on the floor of the House. Perhaps this may just not be the climax. Why so? Well, for one, MVA is backing the possibility of midterm elections, and two, the petitions in the top court to be heard on the 11th of July is only piling up by the day. If 3 pleas weren't enough, the Uddhav camp today filed another petition challenging the newly appointed Speaker Rahul Narvekar's action of recognizing the whip of CM Eknath Shinde faction as the whip of the Shiv Sena. We'll sum the many petitions lined up for hearing, but first, let's take a look at what happened today and why the legal battle in court is a prestige battle now more than ever. Well, this morning, Chief Minister Eknath Shinde won the trust vote with the support of 164 MLAs, including his own faction, the BJP, and 18 independent MLAs. Nearly 100 MLAs in the opposite side voted against him, and about 3 MLAs of other parties abstained. Well, this is not the first time that the Uddhav camp had to bite the bullet. On Sunday, Shinde's ally and BJP's Rahul Narvekar was elected as the new speaker with about 164 votes. Thackeray-backed Rajan Salvi bagged only 107 votes. Both sides had issued separate whips to the party legislators to vote in favor of their respective candidates during the speaker's election. Soon after the speaker was elected, he removed Ajay Chaudhary as the Shiv Sena legislature party leader and reinstated Eknath Shinde as the legislature party leader. He also removed Chief Whip Sunil Prabhu, who belongs to the Thackeray faction, and appointed Bharat Gogavle from the Shinde camp as the Chief Whip of the Shiv Sena. But the whip versus whip tussle doesn't end here. Shinde camp's Chief Whip Bharat Gogavle gave a petition to the Speaker on the suspension of 15 MLAs of Uddhav camp for violation of whip. Remember, they were asked to attend a party meeting in Goa, which Uddhav's MLAs defied. And that's how the Thackeray camp has now moved the Supreme Court, challenging the Speaker's action because they claim only the original party has the legal right to issue a whip. Now, that was 3 pleas, then you had a 4th plea, and now with this, the top court is set to hear at least 5 cases on the 11th of July. My colleague Ketan sums this up for us.
Battered and bruised from the recent political happenings, Shiv Sena is looking forward to the Supreme Court hearing on July 11. Now, the Apex Court is supposed to hear different cases. So, the first case is about the Deputy Speaker urging for disqualification of 16 rebel MLAs. The Supreme Court had asked various constitutional organs to write to the notice and explain its position on the disqualification. Then the second case the Supreme Court is supposed to hear is the disqualification of the Deputy Speaker as urged by the rebel Shinde camp. So that is the second case. Then the third case, an important case, is of the Speaker election, because the Sena and the MVA partners were urging that when the court is already hearing these cases, it was wrong to conduct the Speaker election. But the Supreme Court said that it will listen to the case on the 11th. And lastly, the fourth important case is what happened on Sunday night when the Secretariat and when the newly elected Speaker changed the leader of House of Shiv Sena from Ajay Chaudhary to Eknath Shinde, and also changed the whip from Sunil Prabhu to Bharat Gogavle. So this has also not gone well with the party, because it puts the future of around 15 MLAs who didn't go to the Eknath Shinde camp, and this also includes Aditya Thackeray, in jeopardy, because if the whip power are given to the rebel camp, then the parent party MLAs can be disqualified. So the Supreme Court is supposed to listen on this variety of petitions, and the way the verdict comes out, it is going to give a new twist to the tale of Maharashtra's ongoing political drama.
Well, apart from from the court hearing, what continues to make the Maha thriller a cliffhanger is MVS confidence of midterm elections. NCP chief and MVA ally Sharad Pawar said that the new government may fall in 6 months. All should be ready for midterm elections because once the portfolios are distributed, unrest will emerge, resulting in the collapse of the government. So what are the various scenarios under which midterm elections are inevitable? Is there rationale behind the MVA being so confident? And above all, does Uddhav camp's contention that only they have the legal right to issue whip hold water? To discuss this evening, I'm joined by Aashutosh Srivastava, Senior Advocate of the Supreme Court. Thank you so much, sir, for speaking to Mirror. Now, appreciate your time. First and foremost, I'd like to ask you on the very contention on which we're doing this discussion that Senior Advocate Abhishek Manu Singhvi, appearing for Thackeray Group, informed the Supreme Court that the newly appointed Speaker has no jurisdiction to recognize whips and that the action is changing the status quo of proceedings before the Apex Court. How far do you think does this defense or is this defense tenable?
It will be a very difficult situation in a way to decide, for the Supreme Court because this speaker has been elected by following all the procedures of law, and a speaker has certain powers being given by the Constitution of India. So now saying that a speaker who has been elected by the due process of law has no right to call the whip or likewise, it will be a very difficult situation for a Supreme Court to intervene or to take any contrary decision. The democracy is dependent on the numbers and the support and the majority in any legislative assembly or parliament. And now here when, this particular government is in power and they have elected a speaker with the votes and with the consent of the governor, and accordingly this speaker has been elected. So I find it will be very difficult unless and until it is shown that it was completely unlawful, unjustified by showing some very concrete ground that the election did not take place in a proper manner. I think they would be referring to the petition which is pending before the Supreme Court and also the notices which were served by the previous Deputy Speaker for the disqualification of 16 rebel MLAs, which is still pending before the Supreme Court. So I find that could only be the reason what they would be referring to at the moment.
Could you also shed some light on the 10th schedule? Because going back to this point of where the Shiv Sena, and by this I mean the Uddhav camp, what they say is that according to the 10th schedule, it is only the original party or the authorized party that has the right to issue the whip, and therefore they claim that the other side's whip is illegal.
See, if you consider the 10th schedule of the Constitution, I understand that the disqualification petition is pending as per clause 2(1)(a) of the 10th schedule. However, if you see clause 4 of the same 10th schedule of the Constitution, which clarifies that if 2/3 majority of the MLAs are leaving a particular party, so they may, get merged with another political party, or they may also continue as a separate group. And there is nothing like that what is being told. So these 2/3 will have their own rights and powers being given by the Constitution. And accordingly, when this matter was heard and filed before the Supreme Court, it did not intervene at that point of time, and it said that disqualification will be heard on 11th July, and that is still pending. And we have also previous history where disqualification petitions were pending, but still the floor test happened and the government changed. And these disqualification petitions still continued. So I think this is in consistence with whatever has happened in the past. So it is nothing new which has happened or taken place now.
All right. According to, if I could just pull up that graphics over there also for the benefit of our viewers, we'd like to tell our viewers what exactly is a whip. Now, a whip is a party official who acts as party's enforcer inside the assembly or the parliament. He or she is responsible for the party's discipline and the behavior on the floor of the house. Now, what happens if this whip is defied or disobeyed? Well, according to the Constitution, the legislator may face disqualification, which is decided by the Speaker. Now here in this case, it would be Rahul Narvekar, who is the new speaker. He or she can escape disqualification if the whip is defied by 2/3 majority. And that is why I want to bring you in, sir, on this particular point, because when you talk about whip being disobeyed or facing consequence, according to the Constitution, you can escape disqualification if the whip is defied by about 2/3 majority. And in this case, clearly, Shinde has the support of about 2/3 majority of his party. So in that case, would you say that even if the whip is defied, even if now that the matter of the whip has reached the Supreme Court, there is a possibility of Uddhav camp losing this case here because Shinde has the support of 2/3 majority of defying the whip?
Yes, since the matter is before Supreme Court, it is very difficult to comment on that. But however, as we know that it has been proved now during the floor test that the present government is already having more than 2/3 of the majority. And accordingly, they have taken whatever decisions on the floor. So in that kind of a situation, this, challenging such kind of a decision will be very difficult for any political party before any court, because all these rules are predefined. The Constitution is clear on all these grounds. And if anything is happening on the floor as per the Constitution, it is very difficult to challenge and to prove anything contrary to what is, settled by the principles of law. So it's a difficult situation, obviously, I can find out.
Right. Also, one last question, talking about midterm elections, we're seeing MVA being so confident. In fact, Sharad Pawar almost predicted that in 6 months from now, the new government will fall and midterm elections will be held. And we did see former CM Uddhav Thackeray, Aditya Thackeray, and a Congress leader backing the possibility of midterm elections. If I may ask you, sir, what do you think is the possibility of midterm elections happening in a few months from now in the state of Maharashtra?
I think, he is a very well-known political person and having a lot of experience. Now, what I feel and understand that he would be referring to the disqualification petition which is pending before the Supreme Court, in which the present CM's name is also there, Mr. Shinde. So that could be a hypothetical kind of a situation, what he would be trying to bring to the, the notice of the people, that if Mr. Shinde himself is disqualified, the other MLAs who have been given the ministry may lose the confidence, or they might not be happy in the party, or there would be some kind of dispute in the party, and there will not be clarity as to which party they will be, or to which group these MLAs will be supporting in future. And in that kind of a situation, if it arises, then maybe midterm poll can take place. But I feel it will be a very hypothetical situation to think that way. And obviously, the next floor test cannot happen within 6 months. So obviously, he would be referring to a time period more than 6 months. This is what I understand from his comments.
So important takeaway is there that you think it is a hypothetical situation, that there could be a possible unrest between the factions, and that could lead to the collapsing of the government. And more importantly, in the next 6 months, you cannot have another floor test. On that note, thank you so much, Mr. Srivastava, for sharing your inputs and helping us understand this very tangled and convoluted Maharashtra plot that is seeing newer twists and turns with every passing day. Thank you so much.